And I do really want to thank Karen. She does such an amazing job, and you always have the perfect readings and bring about the perfect message to help support the message of the day. And so you picked the perfect reading and everything. And thanks for bringing the power to our attention too, that we reminded that that's our attributes of God. And we gain understanding as we go. And I think for me, I definitely have gained understanding along the way. I didn't start out this way. So, so, I mean, so that's kind of like, this, I mean, that's why the talk is divine order. Who's in charge here anyways? And, and I was, and I think I was raised with the God in the sky, the God in the heaven, the one that is up there kind of pulling the strings, being the puppet master or whatever, all these concepts of God that I was raised with and didn't understand anything else was. And so, I thought God was in charge, which it's kind of crazy, but he's not. It's like, I think we are more in charge than God is. We're in charge of this world. I mean, God's supreme ruler of the universe and everything like that. But, I thought that God ruled the universe. And my relationship to him was some kind of a bargaining transaction kind of a thing. If I'm good enough, if I believe enough, if you just get me out of this mess, I'll do anything you want kind of a transaction with God. And I thought God actually, you could bargain with him. I thought you could kind of, work out a deal with him to get like some good things in life and everything. And so that kind of makes the universe this random sort of place. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, is he going to say yes this time? Am I going to get what I want this time? And so it made the universe random, and that doesn't feel very good. And I think, while I was writing this talk, it reminded me back of there was a book ages ago, but why do bad things happen to good people? Because that was the question. And why do good things happen to bad people? But the universe just seemed random. Why would that be like that, And so without having some kind of understanding of it, you just kind of operate with the best of your ability and not knowing that. And so Unity actually brought some direction to my thinking, to kind of actually understand that the universe is this place that has rules and laws and causation and effects and things like that. And so that you could actually start thinking about your world and how it is, how it's operating and stuff. So, but Unity kind of makes it complicated, like, so whatever. But anyways, I think I gotta see where I'm at here. Okay, whoops, sorry, I'm just not even. Okay, so God is not a supreme being watching, judging, parenting, or protecting us, but rather the substance of all that is, including us. And so this was a new concept, this God is substance. And I didn't, when Junie and I took metaphysics together, and, we took it from like the great Paul Hasselbeck, who actually wrote the book Heart-Centered Metaphysics for the Unity Movement. But, I was thinking back to that time when we were going through that book, Metaphysics. It was difficult for me. It was hard to understand the concepts. And I think, I took physics and calculus and math and science, and it's like, that was easy because it was so in line. It was like this, then this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And so metaphysics was just, I wasn't used to these nebulous ideas and these different concepts and everything, but in the end, it's a very orderly process. It's a very orderly world. Metaphysics brought meaning to life, or not meaning to life, but meaning to my life and everything. So the God as substance was such a new concept of me. And, for a while after, I didn't want to believe in that God up there in the sky anymore, and I knew that really wasn't. I knew there wasn't a place called heaven and a God sitting on a cloud, and I came to believe that. But for a while there, I didn't have anything. It was kind of like the lost ages or something, where I didn't know what to believe or how do you replace that with something you've been raised all your life with, God, and it's such a concept that we all agree on and that we all believe in, and it's throughout history, throughout nations, throughout civilizations and cultures and everything, that concept of God exists everywhere. And when you kind of lost that, it was kind of lost. But then, I think about how they describe it in the, in the Bible or whatever, that, when it was my time of like wandering in the desert when you're empty like a child. And that's really the best place to be. It was really a good time to just have lost everything and not know where to put it all back together again. And so that's where I found myself, back in my 30s probably, or somewhere in about that, So, so now I'd like to kind of just share with you some of the things that I've come to believe over that time. And it is just what I've come to believe. And that's what you've come to believe your own things too. And you're going to be coming to believe your own things. And we're all developing what we believe, but we're developing it based on our experiences and our what we can prove in life and what happens and things, maybe things we read, but it's more than things we read and more than things we hear. It's more than things we know because of what we've experienced in our lives and everything. So Unity teaches divine mind. So Unity actually teaches metaphysics, like I was saying. It's like a science course. It teaches you the principles, like maybe our 5 principles of unity or principles like that. It teaches you the laws of the universe, the 12 powers, which are really the attributes of God that we can express. And so divine mind is explained that this is the infinite realm of possibilities. So divine mind is God, for lack of a better word. I still use the word God. It's just a easy 3-letter word to explain like everything, you know what I mean? And so it's the concept of God. But, perfect ideas, perfect love, infinite wisdom, omnipresent power. God is everything good and beautiful and pure and wonderful. And it's also the world where we live and breathe and have our being. I don't know where that saying comes from, but we live and breathe and have our being in this world that is all God, all encompassing, all everything. It kind of goes back to that concept that we're just the drop in the ocean. You know what I mean? We are the ocean, but we're, the drop in it and everything, but we're all part of it and it's all together and everything. And so because of the Unity teaching and my own spiritual studies, I've come to believe that the world is an honorable place, that the world operates under laws. Maybe they're not physical laws like gravity, but they're just as important and just as strong and just as accurate and never-ending, and that you can trust it in everything. So that there's a formula we can use in our world if we operate by these laws, that we'll get the results that we want and everything. Oops. Okay. So we talk about I'll use this slide to kind of illustrate the idea, and this is from Unity, and it's from the Heart-Centered Metaphysics book. But this is how Unity explains divine order. And so this is the educational format. So we start with divine mind. And so we have this big everything out here, divine mind. And it works on everything, and this is where it all starts. And it's all out there, and it's in here, and it's all around us, however you want to say it. But divine mind is what contains the substance from which all things are created. And so that's where we get the stuff. That's where it all comes from. It comes from out there. It's the substance where we get it. So that's how divine mind is described. So it's the real substance with everything we see is God. So it's kind of like we don't create things. We don't really have that kind of juice. You know what I mean? We don't have the substance inside of us. The substance is in the universe. The substance is God. It comes from God's. And that's how I've come to believe that like thoughts are things. Our thoughts take the substance and kind of make it into something in the world. And so it's kind of like, I was thinking when I was writing this thing, it's kind of like Play-Doh. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, everybody gets a big blob of Play-Doh, and then it's up to us to take it and make it what we want. It's kind of up to us to take that Play-Doh, shape it into something, and present it to the world. And it's kind of like, that song, that Daniel Nahmad song I just love, but, God's love works through me, God's love works for you, expressing for all the world to see. And so we're actually taking this infinite mind, infinite ideas, pure love, pure energy, pure everything, and we're expressing it in the world. And that's really what divine order is in my understanding and everything like that. That's how God shows up in this world. So the other concept that is really so important is there's no limit to the source of our being. So like Play-Doh, we get a never-ending supply. The substance is never depleted. God never runs out of goodness. It's an infinite supply. But we are the ones that limit our supply. So the supply is out there for us to just grab on, take hold of, or whatever, and we can only accept it according to our consciousness of what we believe we deserve, what we believe we can have, just our limited thinking. And our thinking is limited, you know, because we're human gods, you know, kind of thing like that. So, you know, it's kind of like I saw this little meme one time, and it was like, it's like holding up a cup to Niagara Falls. Here's Niagara Falls, and you're like with this little cup, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you're trying to fill that cup, you know? So it's we that limit our thinking. It's we that limit the size of our, container, and we limit that by our consciousness. So it's always we have to remember that we do live in a limitless universe with a potential for unlimited ideas. And so there's no end to what we can have. There's no end to changing our thinking, what we can believe, what we have. There's just unlimited ideas, and that is God, the concept of God, or Unity calls it divine mind, or universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it. That is unlimited. It's like the universe, unlimited and everything. So there's really two things at play here, the universe and you. You know, one can't operate with the other. God as substance is just that, a big blob of Play-Doh, but with no one to shape it, and no one to create something with it in the physical room. And so the beautiful and sometimes not so beautiful world that we see is created by us. And I do kind of have that belief too, and I don't know if it's unity or whatever, but I don't believe that God comes down to this world and starts doing stuff. You know what I mean? Because that would just be against all laws of physics. And I don't think, you know, God can break the laws of physics. He made the laws of physics. But, you know, so I think it's really, the concept here is that we bring God into the world. We bring God and we express God into the world by our beliefs in the universal consciousness. So that's limited, but our ideas are not. And so sometimes we're just this little Dixonian waif holding our cup up asking, please, sir, could I have some more? You know, and we want to get away from that concept and believe that we're these powerful, beautiful beings that can create anything. You know, we've acted that way in the past, but we can use this unlimited substance for our good and all the good of the universe. Because God in us is the fountain out of which springs all our good. So God in us, God through us, that is the fountain that we create our good. And that's by Emily Cady, that old-fashioned girl with those old-fashioned ideas. So, you know, so God in us is, you know, God is in us and through us. So the question for me every day becomes, how much God do I have in me today, and how much ego? You know, how much am I going to express and accept of the unlimited possibilities in God's perfect love? Or how much is my ego going to show up demanding that the physical world supply me with what I need? And that's really quite the contradiction between that. How much am I going to accept from God, or how much am I going to demand from the world? And so that really, if you think about, or if I think about my own spiritual growth and everything, that was kind of the big shift. You know, when I started out, who knows when, probably, you know, as a child, really, it's like, you know, what are you going to give me? How am I going to get it? You know what I mean? You know, bring it to me, bring it on. But, you know, rather than, and then, you know, at some point there's that concept of that I am getting it from inside, you know what I mean? And actually there was somebody when I was in my 30s, and I remember her to this day because I was so messed up and everything, and she just looked at me and she goes, Debbie, you need to learn that everything you need is inside of you. And it was like, you know, and I'll never forget that because it was just so poignant at the time and what I really needed to hear, because I was so outer world focused, you know what I mean? Just needed, you know, the car, the job, the man, the friends, the money, the anything, you know what I mean? I thought that making me happy was, you know, it needed to come from outside. And once I started realizing that it was coming from inside, it just totally changed our life. So anyway, so God is this fountain, and that's where all of our good comes to. So now more of the scientific principles of unity, but this is kind of how it starts looking. So here's vast universe, unlimited ideas, beauty, truth, hope, everything like that. And then it starts coming down to this planet, and it shows up in our minds. It shows up in us. And that's where the idea in mind, and that's based on all our thoughts and experiences and everything like that. So So my belief is that God does not create the physical world, at least not directly. Divine mind holds all of these ideas of beauty and everything like that, and then we manifest in the visible world. So we take that pure concept of whatever, and we send it through our consciousness, and then we express that in the world. And that's why, that's how things work. So divine mind in the unity concept is purely spiritual. But the physical universe, the world that we see, is made from divine ideas or substance, thought, according to the consciousness of the divine image and likeness, which is you. And that's what's creating it. So our creations are both spiritual and physical, spiritual and material. We take the spiritual, which is God, and we bring them into the physical world. And so they're spiritual because they're based on the divine ideas of God, divine mind. And they're material as they come from our physical mind and are based in the realm of time and space, and they're always changing. So the perfect ideas of divine mind never change, but we change. We change our thinking all the time. We change every day, and we change what we can create. I'm sure if you think about your own life that you manifest different things today than you did at some other times. You maybe have more peace, more joy, more happiness, whatever, but we change. And so our beliefs and thinkings are always changing, which is good news, kind of, because what we create today can be different from what we created yesterday. But our world is really the reflection of the amount of divine mind that we're able to allow through, the amount of divine mind that comes through us. That's how our world is outpictured. That's what's always, that's what shows up in the world, So just like our affirmation today, my good is always flowing to me and through me. So that is a classic unity saying. It doesn't even have any authorship. We all know that. It's just been around forever. And it's a belief. My good is always flowing through me and to me. But so there's this never-ending supply, the infinite supply of good in the universe in the mind of God, an infinite supply of abundance, an infinite reservoir, or all that is perfect and good. So it's kind of like when the Niagara Falls thing. You kind of go up the first time, you have a little cup, I'd like some stuff, please, and then all of a sudden you realize, it fills quickly and everything, and so maybe you start going back, and you go back with a little bucket, and then maybe you go back with a barrel, then maybe you build a pond to hold it all, you know what I mean? But it's like we're the reservoir of everything that is good in this universe. It comes through us. And so it's how big is our bucket? How big are you willing to accept? How big are you going to take? And you have to really see that it's enough to see it, to believe it. It's just not seeing. It's like to me and through me. It's like the experience that you're creating in the world that you're going to see every day. So just classic unity stuff. Our thoughts and feelings and beliefs have the power to create our reality. And that is just why, that is, to me, the crux of unity, the practical spiritual Christianity or whatever, that we have the power to create our reality. And just, this saying came from Ellen Davenport, that she wrote this book about the 5 principles quite a while ago, but it is a great little book that really explains the 5 principles. She is like right up there in unity with her beliefs and her concepts and her understanding and everything of the principles and stuff. But she wrote this really, really good book. So, so that's actually not just part of my talk, but one of the unity principles, that we have the power to create our reality by allowing divine mind to enter with our mind and clearing out our consciousness. It's always out there. It's always ready to come in. It's always there. But are we there? Where are we going to show? Where are we going to show up every day? What are we going to bring into our lives? And that's where the difference comes. So prayer with wholeness in mind is asserting mental order into a chaotic universe. So that's my job today, to kind of like clear out my mind, to start getting organized in my mind, organizing my thoughts, to clear out things, kind of like cleaning out the attic. I have to get rid of ideas that don't fit anymore. I have to look at everything. I have to get rid of antiquated thoughts handed to us from previous generations. I always say one of the hardest things about being with my mom right now is, like, every time it's like, I have whatever, it's like, oh, that runs in our family. Oh, you're going to get that. I mean, everybody gets stomach cancer. Why do you think you're not going to get it? I mean, it's hard to just say, it's like, I'm not getting it. That's not me. You know what I mean? But you have to go in there and get rid of these ideas. And, someone explained the subconscious once to me, and it said, like, it's like a computer. The subconscious is your operating system, and it was programmed by somebody else. And it's like, that is our operating system. Our operating system gets programmed as a child throughout school. I mean, by the time we're 18, we have this operating system, and we don't even know where it came from. We just operate. You know what I mean? Whatever it does. If it told us that we'll never be good, we'll never be good. If it told us we'll never succeed, we'll never succeed. I mean, it's so deep and in there that we have to do it. And that's why that unity requires some work. You know what I mean? And it doesn't require some work, but if you want your world to change, you got to change from the inside. You got to start there, and so you have to look at your operating system. Kind of like the cleaning out the attic. Dust out your cobwebs. That they obscure our thinking. Wash the windows so that we can see clearly. We have to do the work to get ourselves like the empty vessel, something that God can come through. So that's kind of really the point of it all. To thinking differently is it leads to behaving differently. And if we think different and behave different, our world is going to be different. We're going to see something different. We're going to have a different outpicturing in the world. Our thoughts are better. When we align with the Creator, we see our world as we see ourselves and our world as God sees us. And that's back to that prayer thing too. You align yourself with God. You align yourself with the truth and what's really being seen in your life and everything like that. And we take those thoughts and we create with it. We express in the world the purity of those divine ideas. So we express what we can. We take ideas like say health. So we take ideas like health, perfect health, wholeness, everything, and how do we express it? If I start thinking along that I'm sick all the time, or I don't have the ability, or I'm just like everyone else in my family who dies eventually, but I don't have to be that. So I take those ideas and we express it different. Everybody takes the ideas, the divine ideas like a beauty. People express that in different ways, the divine idea of love. And they express it just to their abilities. And so sometimes it comes out differently than you think. So the purpose of aligning our mind with God is so that we can start expressing those things in our life and creating a world of love and peace and harmony. So just as the moon never disappears, your creative energy never disappears, yet both can be hidden. And that's what kind of happens with us. The divine idea is always there. The substance is always there. God gives us what we need. Our mind is active in the world. So what the heck happens? What happens is us. You know what I mean? Our chaotic mind, our limited beliefs, our mental laziness, and our boisterous and loud and demanding ego. And if we don't keep that in check, that's our, other part of us that really demands things. So we take these beautiful ideas and we just limit them. We can't quite express it all because we have these things like, we have this idea of perfect health, but in the back of my mom saying, it's like, oh, everyone gets cancer in our family, and so oh, she had that, so you're going to have that, or, whatever we hear. So we have to get rid of those ideas that are keeping us from expressing the most abundant that we can. So everything starts out as pure and whole and everything. And so that's why even, I believe that, like say my beliefs, but I believe that everything on this world is actually an expression of God. And that's why I believe that even evil is an expression of God, because because God doesn't create evil, God doesn't make evil. God is pure being, pure wholeness, pure beauty, pure everything. But yet somebody, and maybe me sometimes, somebody takes that pureness and it filters, it gets smaller and it's smaller and it's smaller. And the amount of beauty they can express is so small, and the amount of evil they can express is so big, because evil is of the world, beauty and goodness is of God. And so that's how even evil is of, not to say of God, but it's a limited expression of God, a very, very limited expression of God. And so that's how you kind of, we all have access to it all. We do need to kind of express it all. So kind of here's the laws in its final format. The laws of divine mind. You have divine mind, God, ideas, substance. You have everything like that. Then you have our mind, And this what our mind, this is where it all takes place, where we take what we believe, we filter it out, and then we express what we can. And then at the very little point down there, that's what we're expressing in the world. And I kind of think that the graphics that was in our book and everything, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. It's this big, and we express this much. You know what I mean? We go up to Niagara Falls with that cup, and it's like, please, can I have some of that? And we think that that's great and good, and but I mean, there's just no way that as being in the human form that we would ever know the infiniteness of God, but probably that, close you can get to go inside to find my God, to go to try to express your God, to try to get as close in touch with it as you can, try to get rid of all the things that are blocking you from your God, forgiveness, getting rid of your limited beliefs, affirmation. There's so many tools that you have to start doing that. But, we have access to everything, but it's our choice. And not even our choice what to express. It's kind of like it's just an effect of our consciousness. It's kind of where we're at. And, some people don't even know to look at their consciousness. I mean, in that, you can't hold them at fault. I mean, they never think to look at how life is. I mean, they're probably like me at the beginning. Life is just this random place. God's in charge. And that's what a lot of people think divine order is, that God is in charge, that he made this world. I have no say in it. I can't do anything. If he strikes me with a bolt of lightning, that's just poor me. You know what I mean? That didn't work out. But, unity gives us this basis of this concept of divine order, that it is an orderly universe. I had a minister once say, it's an honorable universe. It's going to behave according to principles. It's going to behave according to laws. It's going to do what it's going to do, and you have an impact and an ability to be part of it. So God is the stars and the rocks and the animals, the people. God is love, the creativity, the wisdom that human beings express. So that how she puts that is that God is the love that we express. So therefore, we express God. That is what we're doing on this earth, is expressing God to the ability that we can, to how much we're open, how much we bring forth and everything. But we, the divine image of God, that's who's expressing it. That's who's bringing it to the world. The little drop in the ocean. We express God in whatever limited or expanded consciousness that we have. So prayer is the opening of communication between the mind of man and the mind of God. And that's why I love that saying and everything, and that's why, that I bring that forth, whatever. It's because it's not the prayer like, please God, give me something in your random way of whatever, how you're going to decide to do that. You know what I mean? It's like I need to align myself with God. And the universe, just align myself with the universe. The universe is abundance. So it's abundant, I can have prosperity. It's health and wholeness, so I can have good health. It's beauty, so I can have beauty around me and beauty inside of me, and I can see beauty in others and see what I see. So prayer is just aligning your mind. It's not begging and beseeching and pleading, because if we align our minds with the mind of God, if we accept the possibilities, if we accept the endless supply, the infinite love, the goodness, the grace, and everything, if we can accept all that and get it through our consciousness, then we can express it in the world. And I just had to kind of smile there, because I'm not things, but I do things evil sometimes. I was just sharing to my sister. It's like, yeah, I did that because I knew, it was like, whatever. It was so terrible, but I kind of enjoyed it, which is terrible in its own way. Whatever. It wasn't like killing somebody or anything, but I called somebody on their crap kind of thing, and, but whatever. It was evil. I could have accepted that person as she was, so. Anyways, but, the final lesson of this is when we surrender to the principle of divine order and divine timing, we shall ease the anxiety of impatience. And that is surrendering to divine order. It's like, I know that good will come to me to the extent that I will let it through, And then these ideas and these principles, they operate under very specific laws. The law of divine order, which is divine idea, mind, and expression. And even, I think I've heard mind-body expression, but that's okay, because that sounds like mind-body expression, but it's mind-body expression. And we have to remember that I can't create perfect love and beauty. That's not within my purview. That's not, my mind is too crowded with all this other crap going on in there and everything and all, my beliefs and everything. But it's divine mind, body, and expression. And that is divine order. That's how it works. So thanks for listening.